Earlier today, a forums post was released of the incoming balance changes for Hypixel Skyblock, and this is round one. So, seems like there's going to be future rounds to come. So this was released 12:35 a.m. my time by Jay Varman, who is an administrator on the server. And yeah, let's just get right into the changes that are upcoming, I guess. So there's a few edits here. I'm assuming that they had put in these changes for the Soul Whip and all these other items. But it seems like they're gonna be also nerfing it a bit here. So we got the gear changes first up. So, the Bonemerang. All right, I can already tell this is gonna be a pretty hefty amount of nerfs. So we got the Bonemerang. It nerfed the base damage from to 270 from 320. I guess that isn't too bad. But it's still, considering it is a drop from floor 4, it is pretty overpowered, so I think the nerf was just inevitable for that in this case. But they have in fact buffed the last breath to 200 damage from 180, and they also added 50 crit damage, and the ability, instead of removing 10%, it does up to 50% max reduction, which is really overpowered. And then the Mosquito Bow, it buffed the base strength to 151 from 101, and then the base crit damage to 39 from 9. So it looks like we've buffed some bows and then nerfed one of the most overpowered weapons in the game. I guess this is a fair nerf, and it was to be coming for Bonemerangs. And yeah, I'm overall not too fussy about that because I'm personally not an archer, but I'm sure some archers will be a bit mad. Alright, let's get into some other buffs and nerfs here. So we got the Valkyrie. It buffed the base strength to 140 from 120. This is wow, they're buffing the Valkyrie. Wow, that is I'm a bit speechless here. So they're buffing already one of the most overpowered weapons in the game. That's pretty cool. Then the Australia, they buffed the base damage to 270 from 260. These aren't really big buffs, but they're still buffs. And then the base defense to 250 from 210. They also added 20 true defense and 1 extra defense per Catacombs level. So overall, I think they're just buffing everything. All the weapons that are from the Necron's Blade. Next, we got the Scylla, buffed the base damage from to 270 from 260. That's still a very minor buff, but I'll take any buff for any of these weapons. Then the Hyperion, and it nerfed the intelligence. Alright, so we've got a Hyperion nerf. So it nerfed the intelligence to 350 from 400. I guess this isn't really a major change because Catacombs level still gives lots of intelligence, no matter what in dungeons. But I think the Hyperion is still way too overpowered in the game, so this is definitely a nerf that was coming either way, because, yet again, it's just the most overpowered weapon. They also changed to gain 1 damage per Catacombs level. It was currently bugged to 2, so that'll be a bit of a nerf there. And, ooh, alright. We've got a Wither Impact and Implosion nerf, and it nerfed the explosion radius to 6 blocks from 10. Okay, so it's essentially halving the explosion radius. I'm sure that's gonna affect dungeons majorly. That's personally annoying me because I like dungeons. But I guess they just nerfed the Wither Impact here. Well, I guess we'll have to spam right click a bit more. So we got the Midas Staff next. So we're nerfing the base damage at 0 coins from 16,000 to 6,000. And then, however, max Midas Staff still scales to 32,000. This is a pretty big nerf, but I don't really use a Midas Staff, and I'm sure some people do. Some mid-game mages use a Midas Staff. That'll definitely be annoying for them because they're getting a major damage nerf, but that doesn't really affect me. But it probably affects lots of the Hypixel community. Jeez, I started a bit there, but it definitely affects lots of people. That kind of sucks. Okay, so we got the Dark Goggles, Shadow Goggles, and Wither Goggles nerf. And then the ability damage will now be additive instead of multiplicative. This is a nerf. Oh no. Alright, so this is essentially nerfing one of our main sources of damage if you're a mage and use mage weapons in dungeons. So I guess we'll be doing less ability damage now, and that already is nerfing the Wither Impact. So we've got a lower range and less damage. So the Hyperion and all the other weapons that branch off from the Necron's Blade are kind of dead now. I mean, they won't be as effective. Not nearly as effective, really. And next we got the Reaper Mask, Wither Relic, Silk Edge, and Frozen Blade, and then it upgrades it from Epic to Legendary. Yeah, I guess this is not really that relevant, but it's pretty random to do that, but I guess it's pretty cool. Get an extra Legendary Talisman from the Wither Relic. Now, the Tarantula Helmet, it caps radioactive at 1,000 strength and 100 crit damage. Oh, wow, that's a bit of a nerf there. I don't know how that's going to affect archers. I mean, we're kind of nerfing archer and mage at this point here. Thank you, admins. I mean, that was sarcastic, but still, it's pretty annoying. Okay, next, as a tool for fighting tarantula bosses, the tarantula helmet worked well, but it was used outside of its purpose to a devastating extent in dungeons and by game players. This change will mostly keep tarantula helmet as it is, but greatly reduce its effectiveness in unintended situations. So I guess maybe the golden Necron head and the diamond Necron head's definitely going to be much more of a choice for archers. I mean, the golden Necron head is still really good, and the diamond Necron head is amazing. It's better than Tarantula Helmet anyway, so I guess those will be taking over. Next we get the Skeleton Pet, the Skeletal Defense, the third perk, changed to a 5-second cooldown and deals half the original damage. If you're an archer and use the Skeleton Pet, I guess that's also getting a nerf. And it's currently underused, and this perk in particular stood out by reducing the cooldown to 1/3 of the original time, and only reducing the damage by half. Alright, so it's sort of like a buff nerf, so it's reducing the cooldown, but it's halving the damage, so I guess, if you do the math there, that is a bit more DPS, but I don't really know. So we got the Tiger Pet, base ferocity buff to 25. Tiger Pet is pretty useful, especially with things like mining the powder gas and you get ferocity and stuff like that. That's also going to be awesome. And the Merciless Swipe nerf to 50% more ferocity. Okay, that's kind of a big nerf there. So we're getting half the ferocity from the Merciless Swipe. I don't really do mining or use ferocity in any way, so that doesn't really affect me. But I'm sure that'll annoy lots of people. We got the Lion Pet. It added 5 ferocity. That's pretty good. Lion Pet, it changed the first pounce to increase the effectiveness of first strike slash triple strike and combo by 100%, 75% for a rare pet. And then the Lion Pet changed King of the Jungle, gain 50% more damage to mobs who have attacked you. That's also a pretty big buff. So Lion Pet's getting buffed here. So now we got boss changes. Currently, most bosses in the game have a damage soft cap, meaning that after X damage, players only deal 10% of the remaining damage. We are changing this mechanic on a few bosses, so we got the Arachne, the Magma Boss, and the Dragons, Endstone Protector, and the Headless Horseman. And then on all of these bosses, the soft cap will be changed to multiple soft caps, ending with a hard damage cap based on their max health. Any damage below 0.4% of their total health remains the same. Damage between 0.4 and 0.6 is reduced by 90%. Damage between 0.6 and 0.8 is reduced by 99%. And damage between 0.8 and 1% is reduced by 99.9%. And damage above 1% of their health is reduced by 100%. I really don't do dragons or endstone protectors, but I'm sure this will hurt and annoy some early game to mid game players, but they don't really do that much damage anyway, so I'm sure this will not really affect anyone that much. Alright, so we've got an example here. I'm not going to read over this because it's already, the video's gone for about 10 minutes, so we'll just go down to some of the other stuff. Alright, so we got the Catacombs changes now. Okay, so from what I've heard, this really affects dungeon carries, and servers like Dungeon Maniacs and SBL, and their carry services will be greatly affected by this, because we've got now catacombs of requirements to do each floor. So the entrance will require combat 15. That's not really that hard to get. Um, I generally most early games players should have combat 15, so the entrance will be available. Floor 1 will require catacombs level 1. Again, that's not really that hard. Floor 2, Catacombs level 3, that's also not too bad. Floor 3, Catacombs level 5, that's not too bad. Floor 4, Catacombs level 9, that's also not too bad. Alright, so I can see we got a big jump here. Floor 5 will require Catacombs level 16, so I reckon that's a few floors to do before you can actually do floor 5. And then floor 6 will require Catacombs 21, that's also not too bad, but floor 5s, you have to do a few of them to get to Cata 21, and then do floor 6. And then floor 7 will require Catacombs level 26. That's actually a lot of floor 6s you have to do. That's probably about 70 floor 6s you have to do until you can do floor 7, but that'll definitely earn you enough money to be able to do floor 7. I know this impacts lots of people who want to get carried, so they actually have to grind up and do all the floors themselves. But overall, I think this is a good change, because then people in Party Finder aren't begging for carries and that kind of stuff, and we won't get that many throwers that are below Cata 26 in runs. Alright, so now we get the general changes and the bug fixes. Lifesteal will now heal 0.5% of the maximum health per hit per level. Siphon will now heal 0.2% of your maximum health per hit per 100 critical damage, and an additional 0.1 per tier. As an example, if I have Siphon 3 and 500 crit damage, I'll heal 0.4 per 100, so 2% of my maximum health per hit. It caps at 1000 critical damage, and Frosty hits will no longer trigger Lifesteal / Siphon. So I believe that this is kind of a nerf to Lifesteal and Siphon, but it actually does look like Lifesteal is better than Siphon now, from what I can see. So that's definitely a good change, and they will significantly nerf healing in this game. Yep, I can see that coming. And then overall, I think this is pretty good, because Lifesteal and Siphon are pretty overpowered. And then let's get some other general changes. So we've got mana above maximum mana will be removed. With the Cloak Sword will be disabled when switching armor sets. With the Cloak Sword ability will no longer deal damage. Alright, so now from what I can see here is the Goblin armor with the Cloak swap with high mana sets is completely revoked now. So no more completely just bug abusing through floor 7 and stuff like that. With the Master Skulls now only have 10-second lifespan. Thank God. That is really good, because now they've already nerfed a bunch of stuff, so this will actually help lots of people in floor 7 who are lower Catacombs level. Rabbit Hat jump boost on F7 will no longer work. That's unfortunate. And the Lesser Hob of Ealing will now work in dungeons. Remove some AFK methods only on public islands. Fixing Powder Gang from Mithril Golem, Sky Mole, and Mining Pumpkins. Spirit Mask ability will now work in dungeons. Fell Sword will be fixed. Class milestones will be removed from the Catacombs entrance. And the Spirit Pet will work even when the pet isn't selected. Alright, so there's been lots of nerfs here, lots of dungeon item nerfs, but I think most of these are inevitable because of how overpowered some of these items are and how people are abusing them, and bug abusing lots of other items like Rabbit Hat and that kind of stuff. So overall, I guess this is a quality of life update, but it definitely annoys me, and I guarantee it annoys heaps of other people in the Skyblock community, just because of how many nerfs there are. And yeah, I guess this is overall an update that will just be annoying, but it's the admins, they have their power to do this stuff, so I guess we have to just get used to it and make our way around these, and I'm sure lots of people will find new ways to take advantage of these new features and stuff like that to get even better results. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, hope you all enjoyed. This has just been a pretty long video, 15 minutes, reviewing over the new changes and stuff like that through the new update. And yeah, make sure to subscribe, nearly at 200 subs. See ya.